25th of April 2004, 20 years ago, we won the league here at White Hart Lane.
You know, we're in a title race and they're still in a top 4 race. You know, there's damage to be done on both sides depending on the result. They haven't been a team ever at the big table. They haven't got an era, you know, not just playing Premier League history, but we're talking football history.
Tottenham fans could watch this, because I'm sure some will, and they could see it in two ways. Stop, you know, little broing us, stop babying us. They've got a squad built for moments. I know we talk about them as playing really good football.
Coming out with some crackers today. Yes, people, welcome to the Predicted 11 for the North London derby. We're going to get what we want to see. Obviously, it's a huge game. We just spoke to a Spurs fan, though, who said he has inside information that Højbjerg is just going to be man-marking Odegaard throughout the whole game. Whether that causes us problems or not, does that worry any of you two? Or do you think Odegaard is intelligent enough to get away from him to start?
That it's difficult. You can have a plan to stop a player like Odegaard, but then that can also distract from everything else, because Odegaard doesn't just play in one area. We saw his assist for Havertz came from the left side of midfield. He's been dropping into build-up, and he's sometimes our highest, most attacking midfielder. So you can follow him, but you know, then he'll drop deep, and maybe Saka will move inside. So do they all follow? Are they going for a whole man-for-man press? If Saka moves inside, Ben White overlaps. So I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I remember the famous Ander Herrera on Eden Hazard one, because the art of having one man marking a player was kind of lost until Mourinho went, I am Jose Mourinho.
Wherever he goes.
to really take it to level 100. Yeah. But it could work. Højbjerg is the kind of player who'd do it.
Yeah.
But I've never liked the idea. Just as a football neutral, I never really liked that kind of tactic. But
I hated it as a player. I hated it. It's probably the worst thing.
Being man-marked?
No, being man-marked, I think it's the most...
Why are you acting like anyone planned to man-mark you?
I was a good player.
Up against Crawley legend.
I hated that.
I was a good player in my day.
John, we're going to need you to... You're man-marking Cecil today.
I was a threat. Yeah. I was man-marked a few times because of the level I was at. Thank you very much. And I hated it. But Turkish, does that give you any fear, the fact that Højbjerg could be man-marking Odegaard for the whole game? Do you think that works?
It could do, but we've got Partey and Rice in midfield as well, so we've got 3 midfielders that can all cause problems in the attacking thirds. They can all break the lines in different ways, so you know, it could be more for them to focus on Odegaard, but it could also be the platform for success for them. It's hard to really say, because if they focus on Odegaard, I might look to Saka to step up. Yeah. You know, if they focus on Odegaard, I might look at what Rice is doing to pick off the spaces that Odegaard creates by putting Højbjerg away.
They're gonna have to do that.
You know, if they man-mark Odegaard, maybe I look at Havertz dropping in if he starts up top and adding another body into that midfield when Odegaard moves up. So I think it's, you know, if that is going to be the play from Tottenham, which I wouldn't be surprised, Odegaard, you know, one of the candidates for player of the season, really has stepped it up in the second half. I wouldn't be surprised, but it'll be up to Arteta to change it up if that is their approach.
And can I say, that's such a great point from Turkish, because that first goal, it's Partey who fizzes the ball into Rice. He drives into the space as we narrow in on their back four, and then it's rolled into Trossard, who scores. Odegaard isn't part of those 3-4 passes and 3-4 players before the goal. So, yeah, you know, Rice, I thought, with Partey behind him and Odegaard in there supporting, was playing his most adventurous football in that 8 that we've seen so far, in terms of, you look at that turn past Enzo where the ball was slightly behind him and he sort of took it with the drag back, set himself up for a shot and just hit it over the bar. So you want to stop a £105 million player as well. So they've kind of got the tools for it, because they could go for a Basuma and a Højbjerg or a Sarr or a Bentancur. Any one of the 4 could do it, but a man-marking job on Odegaard, I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, you just got to try and pull him away. It's funny, sorry, we started this show from, you know, a word we had from a Spurs fan that could be reliable, could not be, but it's interesting to look at that dynamic. Let's get into who you want to see start first. Just run through your 11 that you want to see against Tottenham this weekend.
Yeah, so I would mix it up. For what it's worth, I know we're going to, let's just say it, I think he'll go unchanged.
Right.
Do you guys agree?
I 100% agree.
Cool.
So that's the 11 we think it'll be. We think it'll be Raya, White, Saliba, we think it'll be Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Odegaard, Partey, Rice, Trossard, Havertz, Saka. I think the same goalkeeper back four, midfield three, but I would want it to be Jesus left, Trossard false nine, and Saka on the right. Now I know that's harsh on Havertz, but I actually thought dropping Jesus for the Chelsea game was harsh in the first place. I thought he was good against Wolves. I thought he was really important, Jesus, for, even though we drew the game, for what we did in that first North London derby in terms of winning the ball back. And again, I've talked about this on Tactical Insights, so go find out why I think that. But then I also think Trossard's our most clutch player. I want to look at Havertz and what he does up front. He's done really well as an all-round package up top when you're talking about the height and the combination play and the runs off the ball. I think it's his off-the-ball movement that's impressed me most. Yeah, the runs he's made when Erdegaard gets the ball is really, really impressive, and actually he did that from midfield as well. But he's not a better finisher than Trossard for me. I think we're going to need a little bit of pace. And I actually don't think he holds the ball up as well as... I know people say his sort of combination play is quite good, but I actually could see Romero and Van de Ven having some fun with him a little bit. And I would go for a Jesus or a Trossard, who are a little bit more... Well, they're smaller, lower centre of gravity, but I think can make them a little bit more panicky. I think that is less how they'd want to defend than long balls and hitting channels. So I would go for Trossard with Jesus on the left, and then they could alternate. But I don't think that's what it will be, and I will probably be wrong for wanting what I wanted, but that's just how I'm seeing it.
Martinelli, no one mentioned him at all in this game. None of us. We think Arteta's going to go unchanged. James has opted for Jesus instead of Martinelli as well. Unfair on Martinelli, or is it understandable? Do you think you just see him come off the bench in this game maybe to affect it, or is there any chance he could start?
It's understandable that Trossard starts, he deserves it, but
Fair.
I think this is the game for Martinelli. If there's ever a team that sets up to suit him, I think it's Tottenham. We didn't have Martinelli in the first game. I think he was injured. And if you want pace in behind, if you want a threat over the top, when you look at all our attackers, I think Martinelli is the one by far that you'd expect to be on the end of things over the top. So
it's so annoying. I'm sorry to cut you. It's so annoying because I agree with what I think this is the game for Martinelli, but I feel like you can't drop Trossard. That's why I'm just like, I'm so...
Yeah, but you know what? Drop is the word you choose to use, but we've seen Pep leave out De Bruyne recently. We've seen Pep leave out Haaland recently. Rotation is part of it as well.
That's a good point.
Tottenham are a team that like to play a high line. They're a team that like to suffocate one half, and that'll lead.
We're in Tottenham.
Madman. That'll leave the space in behind for Martinelli to capitalise on. I just think that it's a game for him. I think he's had a very poor season. Yeah, very poor season, I'll say that. But I do think he will have a part to play in the last 4 games, and it should be against Tottenham.
So you'd like to see him start if it was you? If it was
I think if Martinelli starts, I think we've got a much better chance of winning the game by half time.
I hear it. It's kind of like it's a real roll of the dice. If we went for Saka on the right with Jesus up top, Martinelli on the left, a front three we've barely seen this season, but with lightning last season, part of me thinks it could be a little bit all over the place because Trossard and Havertz have added that element of control to a degree.
Agreed.
But at the same time, I think Turkish is right. Like, if Arteta wanted to really silence the crowd and go for it and play our football and really take it to Spurs, that front three would be electric. But there's something about Havertz, like, I still am not seeing the really, really amazing great Havertz everyone's telling me about.
Same.
But I'm seeing for sure a much better contribution up top.
He's an anomaly.
And I'm also seeing a more natural striker. He plays the position like he wants to score goals. I'm not sure Jesus always does. And so when he missed those chances against Chelsea in the first half, I was a bit frustrated. It was a bit annoying. But really what annoyed me was the hold-up play. It was the driving with the ball, then losing it. It was the passing. Like, all that annoyed me. And then second half, he just did the job with 2 brilliant strikes. And Curtis made such a great point on his fan cam, I think. He said, maybe it was player ratings, but he said, I want a striker to score goals and not be that involved more than I want them to be really involved and not score. And I think the youth have probably got both. And we do.
We do.
But that's kind of like a really interesting way to look at Havertz. Like, well, he scored 2 goals against Chelsea and they were great finishes. Yeah. So do I care about everything else? Yeah, to a degree, but ultimately...
You want to win a game.
He did his job, so that makes him really tempting. And he has been, I think, a much better threat as a goal scorer up front than anyone else in the squad so far this season.
Just to clarify, obviously, you said Martinelli, you'd like to see him start. Would you like to see Havertz in your 11 as well then, up front, or would you have taken him out for Jesus or anything? Or for what you want to see, we will think Arteta's going to go the same, but does Havertz get into that 11 that you want to see because of what he's done, what he's contributed? Because I agree with James, I haven't seen nothing that makes me think he is, he's completely done more than I ever expected and he's world class, but he has contributed.
Can I just add a line to that? We're hearing reports Arsenal are considering changing their transfer plans and actually not signing a striker because of how well Havertz is playing.
Oh, I don't know.
So I just want to use that as context to what I mean when I say I'm not seeing this amazing Havertz. I'm not seeing performances that tell me, oh, you don't need the £85 million striker you're going to go for. I'm not seeing that at all.
Do we all agree with that? Cause if they've come out of that Arsenal in the week, do we all agree that we don't need that? Because
No, this is what I'm saying. No. If that was your plan, I've not seen anything that diverts you. While I've been impressed, while he's done well, I'm certainly seeing a much better contribution, and he's definitely been the best option there so far. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing levels of performance that make you completely swing from I want a £100 million striker to I don't want him anymore. That's all. That just adds context to why I feel I need to add that layer of I'm still not 100% sure, because some people might go, for God's sake, can you go one video without being critical? I'm not being critical. I'm just trying to add a level of measure to the performances we're seeing. He's been very, very good. I'm not sure he's right for this game, but he's done very well. Just not seeing quite what everyone else is seeing.
Fair. Is he right for this game for you?
He's the highest paid player, big summer signing, 4 games to go, we're in a title race. For those reasons alone, he's got to start, regardless of what I think of him. If James is right and transfer plans are supposedly changing, then I'd say he needs to play 90 minutes in all 4 games. Let's find out. Let's put some more base behind these thoughts around the transfer window, because I don't see it.
At all.
In terms of him being our long-term striker, yes. And the last season, Jesus had 11 goals. We all know he wasn't good enough. Can he play a part? Yes. Havertz this season currently has 11 goals. People will argue, he's played game in midfield. Yes, but the game in midfield, they don't look good. So, 11 goals, I think he's had a good first season, beating the expectation I had for him, because, the bar was low for me. But to now go forward relying upon him, when I've looked at him this season and said, the best move for Havertz in terms of the Arsenal squad is using him as an impact rotational player going into next season. We must get a striker. He is not the answer for that striker position, but he should start. And in my opinion, he should start the rest of the games to prove Arteta right in this regard, or whether to prove that we still need what we need up front.
Would you guys start him in this game?
Yeah, just because I get what you mean. One of the biggest gripes around him is that earlier in the season, some of the big games, he was left on the bench. Yeah. I'm sorry, but our highest paid player needs to be on the pitch. Your highest paid player should be one of the first names on the team sheet. Your highest paid player should be one of the people you turn to in these biggest games.
But when Pep rotates Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland, does that mean he's not playing the most expensive or worst paid player? Does that matter? Is that because they're Cities? Is that a different argument?
I think it's different because those players have proved it time and time again throughout the years. So it's different. That they can be like Kevin De Bruyne. Business end, you can rely upon him. So if he gets rotated for one game, it is what it is. With Havertz, we need to find out, because we've got a big summer ahead of us. Yeah. Because I feel like we can still win the league this season, but if we don't, I think we should win this league next season.
Yeah, fair. The midfield conversation quickly. Obviously, we all wanted to see Declan Rice. Standard. But how important? Everyone always says. I think it might be lazy journalism that the midfield wins you the game. Does that play a part in this game on Sunday, or is it? Because
they got midfield that can really take over. Like, I'm a big fan of Sarr. Sarr. I think he's a really good player.
Dynamics.
And it's not just he has legs, he's got good technical ability. I remember his cross into the box when they won 4-0 at Villa Park. Like, he can break beyond the lines and be a problem there. Their wingers hug the touchline, so that gets those midfielders into really good positions. Maddison can be hit and miss. He could easily go this game quiet. He could easily be the reason Tottenham win it. He just is a real difference maker. And so you're going to need Partey and you're going to need Rice to track those runners. And if there is a man marking job on Ødegaard, but whatever happens, Ødegaard will work incredibly hard. But when those pockets open up, he's got to be both safe and daring in possession. I know that's a contradiction, but I mean, you gotta be willing to play those counter-attacking passes that get us from one third of the pitch to the other third very quickly. But when I say safe, is he's got to execute it. If you get it wrong when we're trying to counter those spaces open up, it becomes a basketball match. We don't settle, they don't settle, and actually that favours them more. So if we are going to then have our moments where we're defending, where we're tracking their runners, we win the ball back, we have an opportunity to counter, get it right. If not, keep the ball settle again. So the midfield have a big responsibility to keep a lid on this place.
You said about Havertz, being the most expensive player on the most money. Not the most expensive player, sorry, on the most money currently at Arsenal. Do you have to start that midfield free for you said he has to start for the rest of the games. Do you have to have that midfield free for the rest of the games as well? Yeah, okay, good. Because I think so too. I think that midfield free that we've been wanting all season, I think has to see out the end of this season for us to have any hope in winning the league title. Lastly, Tomiyasu. Does he start for both of you? Even though he got, the ankle stamp from Nicholas Jackson, should have been a red card in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even if he's not 100%, say he's 80%, do you start him regardless in this game? Is it no shout for Kivior, no shout for Zinchenko?
If he's fit to play, he plays. That's it.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
That's 80% Tommy's better than Kivior and Zinchenko at left back.
But also just ask him, all these percentages, I get it, is how it's measured. But I'll just look at him. Are you fit, Tommy? Yeah. Right, you play. That's it. And if he goes, I'm not sure. Okay, well then don't. Because.
But what are we saving him for? Every game, we could save him for nothing if we don't win this game.
But what I would say is he got done by Madueke once or twice in that game.
Yeah.
And while I actually thought he did really well, he won the ball high up the pitch and actually looked quite good going forward. Defensively, still not 100% at it. So if he's also then fitness-wise not 100% at it, I'll go, right, okay, cool, sit this one out then, that's fine. Zinchenko was really good here last year. I'm not saying I wouldn't start him.
We were unreal last year.
But he allowed us to really get control of that game. And I think we've sort of all just palmed off Zinchenko as that's it, he's not going to play because Kivior, because Tomiyasu and Timber's going to return. I still believe that if Zinchenko clicks, and I think sorting out that midfield is a big part to do with that, and Martinelli, then he offers something that still I don't believe anyone else in the squad does. I wouldn't be utterly surprised if Arteta went for him. I'd be surprised, but it's worked using him here before.
I wouldn't be surprised in the sense that if Højbjerg is on Odegaard and Odegaard is smart and intelligent enough to just drag him out of the space, Zinchenko's the man I want in there conducting, playing the ball and getting it forward. So that wouldn't surprise me either if they go if Højbjerg is man marking Odegaard, but we'll have to wait and see. That is it.
Yeah.
For the Prince 11. I think.
But we agree unchanged.
Yeah, unchanged.
Yeah. All that conversation for nothing.
No, I enjoyed the conversation. It was much needed and necessary. Let us know in the comments below. Do you agree with what's been said in this video? Should we go unchanged, or should there be changes made? James has done a tactical insight and gave in his reasons why Jesus should start. Let us know if you agree with that as well. Like the video if you like the video. Let's hope Arsenal can go on and win this game. Take care, people.